So, I do not own Helldivers 2, and you might be asking me, as someone who reviews games, why? Well, that's because upon first look, I thought it would be another generic AAA game. Upon further review, I can see now that I was just a tiny little bit wrong. However, when one aims to play a game, one must understand such a game. Quoted by Sun Tzu. So after some very extensive research, let's look at the history of this game and by extension, Arrowhead Studios. The makers of Helldivers, Arrowhead Game Studios, have what is arguably the best code of conduct for a video game developer. When they try to make games, it's not over-monetized, it doesn't pander to certain audiences. I mean, their motto is, "A game for everyone is a game for no one." Or at least, that's what it says on the main page. If I had known this about the developers, I might have even pre-ordered the game. Arrowhead has a really good track history when it comes to games, and they only have 4. Their first game was Magica, which was a funny little wizard game that had a great fan base, and it also went on to receive a sequel, Magica 2, which is a game for another time. They also remade the game Gauntlet and made Gauntlet Slayer Edition, which seems like a fun game, and they made Helldivers. Helldivers 1, actually. See, the original Helldivers was a top-down shooter where you did essentially the same thing as in Helldivers 2, although there were some major differences. The original Helldivers concept is genuinely amazing. You play as an elite soldier within the Federation of Super-Earth, a federation which practices a government type called managed democracy, which is basically democracy but without the freedom of speech part, or the democracy part. But yeah, you play as this elite force on a conquest through the galaxy to beat down threats on multiple fronts. Helldivers 1 did that pretty well, but Helldivers 2 revolutionized it, along with the live service game format in general. With so many new AAA games coming out, it can be really hard to tell which ones are good or not. Even if you can tell by signs of over-monetization, you can never really truly say how much you'll enjoy them. And, of course, they cost trillions of dollars, so you either invest that and waste money, or you just skip out on it. Well, if you click the link on the description, you'll be taken to a service that gives great deals on great games, including AAA ones. With this service, I've gotten over $100 worth of AAA games for only 20 bucks, which sounds to me like a really good deal. But with that segment taken care of, now it's time to get back to why Helldivers 2 is, really good. In Helldivers 2, the threats from the previous game have returned and have been buffed like crazy. But instead of playing through a set of linear storyline where you defeat them, the story plays out live. What does this mean exactly? Well, here's the basic gameplay loop, as far as I know without even playing the game. Helldivers dive into an array of several different planets that are either controlled or under siege by the threats, which are the Terminids, which are just really big bugs with oil for blood, and the Automatons, which are the spiritual successors to the cyborgs in the previous game. As war is waged between us and those factions, we fight on planets that are in the process of being liberated. But you are not just liberating these planets yourself like a one-man army. Every player in the game is trying to liberate these planets. The live service that the game provides is updating the story as the players go on. There are game-wide orders issued to all Helldivers that tell them what they need to do. And there are even historical events like the horrors on Malevelon Creek and the more recent massacre of 2 billion Terminids in less than 24 hours. And the game capitalizes on this by updating the game in accordance to these events. An amazing example is there is a Malevelon Creek Memorial Day, and remembrance capes were issued out to all Helldivers. I never expected anything like this out of any kind of AAA game, which is why I don't own it right now. So I will be making a great Helldivers video once I've actually played the game. Goodbye now.